Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, August 25th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 318 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story this fine Friday is a continuation on a theme that's sprung up in the last couple of weeks as Colorado takes its turn defending its legal marijuana system against a letter sent by Attorney General Jeff Sessions criticizing it. The Cannabist turned up a copy of the 5-page letter of response sent to Sessions by Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper and State Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman, which strongly pushed back in great detail on all the points Sessions used in his original letter, including the fears of illicit market diversion, increased use of cannabis by kids, and a rise in car accidents spurred by marijuana use, none of which have actually happened. Swing over to the Cannabist for the full read of Colorado's letter, as well as some more background information on other responses sent to Sessions by the leaders of Washington State, Oregon, and Alaska. Tom Angel over MassRoots has the story of the American Legion calling upon the federal government to stop barring military veterans from using medical marijuana through Veterans Affairs doctors, which they are currently banned from doing. Yesterday, the organization adopted a resolution that read in part, quote, "The American Legion urges the United States government to permit VA medical providers to be able to discuss with veterans the use of marijuana for medical purposes and recommend it in those states where medical marijuana laws exist." Unquote. Pretty straightforward. The adoption of the resolution came just a day after President Trump addressed the National Convention of the American Legion. Swing over to Tom's piece on MassRoots for a full and comprehensive write-up of the history of the politics of medical marijuana and military veterans. Our final top story of the day is the news out of Denver, Colorado that qualifying city businesses are now free to apply for permission to open up marijuana consumption spaces for customers. This is a story that's been brewing since last fall when city voters passed a ballot initiative to set up a pilot program allowing for public marijuana use in business spaces that meet a set of criteria, namely that the space be outdoor or properly ventilated, hidden away from public view, and in a neighborhood that's welcomed them via a neighborhood association or business improvement district. Yesterday, the city announced that they were now accepting applications for permanent businesses who want to allow for cannabis consumption, while they'll begin taking applications for one-off special events starting next month. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, MJ Today Media. Thanks. All right, time for the blitz. Yesterday, the Nevada Gaming Commission met and discussed a number of marijuana-related issues concerning the legal gaming industry. The 5-member board controls the rules and regulations for state-licensed casinos and took great pains during their discussions last night to make it clear they wanted nothing to do with legal marijuana. Citing concerns over a federal crackdown, the commission said that as long as federal officials consider cannabis to be illegal, casinos will have to completely avoid doing business with legal marijuana businesses, including hosting conferences and trade shows. Left to be discussed at a future meeting was the issue of tourists using cannabis in their hotel rooms. The Sante Fe New Mexican has an important story up about a push in New Mexico to allow for people addicted to opioid-based drugs to use medical marijuana to treat their addiction. This is a story that will likely reoccur in many states as the idea that medical marijuana is an effective treatment for opioid abuse spreads. Turning out west to California, we have the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors raising alarms over recent raids by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife on small-scale, unpermitted marijuana grows, saying that the recent raids were counterproductive to their efforts to get unlicensed cultivators into the regulated system. Yesterday, a proposed piece of legislation was approved by the California State Senate that restricts how legal marijuana edibles can be packaged, barring labels that actually show the product and any that mimic the brands of non-cannabis related products. The bill now heads to the desk of Governor Jerry Brown for final consideration. It looks like Minnesota is going to need to get itself a new governor if the state ever wants to throw off the shackles of marijuana prohibition, as the state's top politician said in an interview with Minnesota Public Radio that he thought making cannabis legal was a bad idea and that it would never happen under his watch. Governor Mark Dayton told NPR's Carrie Miller that, quote, If somebody wants to use marijuana, go visit California or Colorado, but don't bring it back here. I don't see it as improving the quality of life of those societies." Unquote. Canada is working to head off future supply constraints in their legal marijuana system by speeding up the process of granting licenses to medical marijuana producers, with the total number of licensed providers jumping 20% over the last few months, growing from 45 to 54. As Canada's medical marijuana market grows and the nation heads towards fully legal adult use sales next summer, many industry watchers have been concerned that Canadian cultivation wouldn't be able to keep up. These numbers are a good sign that those fears might be misplaced. And finally for today, Marijuana Business Daily has a good story up about the coming flood of outdoor grown marijuana about to hit the Colorado legal market. As Bart Schneeman is reporting, Colorado's Pueblo County has a large number of licensed outdoor cultivators who are just weeks away from harvest. But as Bart is also reporting, it looks like Colorado's cannabis market just might be mature enough to absorb the large influx of flower without too much price disruption, with much of the harvest already contracted out as concentrates and products fodder. This and the ability of companies to freeze dry their cannabis for use later in the year should smooth things out as the trimmers start their work. Swing over to Marijuana Business Daily for the full read on this one. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJTodayDaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, MJ Today Media, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.